Hello everyone, today I am going to tell you 4 disturbing true high school horror stories that prove some schools never forget what happens within their walls. Stories whispered in the dark, written in fear, and remembered by those who wish they could forget. The first story is known as The Locker That Whispered. In 1998, at a small-town high school in Ohio, there was one locker students avoided, locker number 319. It sat alone at the end of a long hallway, paint chipped, rusted, and always cold to the touch, even in summer. People joked it was haunted, but those jokes stopped after a freshman named Daniel claimed to hear someone whisper his name when he walked past it. He thought it was his friend hiding nearby, but when he turned around, the hallway was completely empty. The next night, the janitor, Mr. Collins, stayed late to clean. Around midnight, he heard the same whisper, soft and pleading, calling his name from inside the locker. "Collins, please help me." Thinking a student was trapped, he opened it but found only darkness. A second later, the heavy metal door slammed shut, locking him inside. His flashlight rolled across the floor, flickering, and his screams echoed down the empty hallway until they suddenly stopped. When teachers found him the next morning, he was lying on the floor, unconscious, his fingernails broken and bloodied from clawing at the metal walls. Security footage showed the locker door opening and closing on its own through the night. After that, locker 319 was sealed shut permanently, but every year since, around the same week, students still claimed to hear whispers in the hallway, faint voices begging to be let out. The second story is called The Art Room Incident. In 2004, a senior named Lily loved painting after class. She was quiet, distant, and often stayed alone in the art room late into the night. One evening, she told her art teacher she'd been having strange dreams. A tall man in a teacher-ass uniform with no face standing behind her while she painted. The teacher laughed it off until the next morning when Lily didn't show up for school. Her easel was overturned, her brushes scattered, and her latest painting torn to shreds. The painting had been of the faceless man she'd described. The teacher immediately called the police, but Lily had vanished without a trace. A month later, a new substitute art teacher arrived. Tall, wearing the same kind of uniform Lily had painted. He was quiet, never looked anyone in the eyes, and after his first week, he suddenly quit. The next morning, Lily's torn painting was found restored on the art room wall, but this time the faceless man had eyes, Lily S. eyes, and her initials were carved into the wooden frame. The lights in that room have flickered ever since, and students who stay late sometimes swear they hear soft humming, the same tune Lily used to sing while painting. The third story happened in 2011 at a high school in Illinois, where workers renovating the gym discovered a sealed door beneath the bleachers. Behind it, they found a forgotten basement classroom, complete with desks, books, and chalk still on the board. Written in chalk were the words, "Class dismissed, forever." No one knew the room existed, and records showed no teachers or students ever assigned there. After they reopened the gym, strange noises began at night, running footsteps, laughter, and the sound of chairs dragging across the floor below. One night, a janitor decided to investigate. He brought a flashlight and a radio, promising to check in every 10 minutes. An hour passed. No response. When they went to look for him, his flashlight was still on, spinning slowly on the ground, and his radio was repeating a child's voice saying, "We're still here." The principal sealed the basement again, but even now, late at night, the gym floor vibrates faintly, like small feet running underneath it, and sometimes basketballs roll on their own. The fourth and final story is the most recent, the yearbook photo. In 2017, at a high school in Texas, senior year photos were taken as usual. Students lined up, smiling, posing for the camera. Everything seemed normal, until the photos came back. In every group picture, there was one extra person, a pale figure with a wide grin and hollow eyes standing behind the students. No one recognized the face. The photographer checked his footage. No trace of the figure appeared in the video. Security cameras showed only the students. But in the printed photos, that smiling figure was clear, standing closer in each shot. At first, everyone thought it was a prank, until one of the students in those photos, Jason, went missing on his way home. His car was found idling by the roadside, the door wide open, his phone and camera still on the seat. The last picture on his phone was a selfie, Jason smiling nervously, but behind him, in the rear window, the same pale figure stood just inches away, smiling wider, almost touching his shoulder. Jason was never found. The school banned yearbook photos after that, but people say if you look closely at the class of 2017's yearbook, there's a faint face in the background, one that shouldn't be there. Some claim that if you stare too long, the smile changes. These stories, the locker that whispered, the art room that painted back, the basement classroom that still holds its final lesson, and the yearbook photo that captured something from beyond, all happened in places where we were supposed to feel safe. The walls of schools hold memories, laughter, and fear. Maybe those walls remember more than we think. Maybe every scream, every secret, every fear ever felt there still echoes through them. And maybe, if you stay late enough, you might hear those echoes too. Footsteps behind you when the hallway should be empty. Whispers through the vents. Reflections that don't quite match your movements. If you ever walk through your school after dark and hear someone say your name, don't turn around, don't answer, just keep walking. Because once you acknowledge it, once it knows you've heard it, it follows, and it doesn't stop. You'll start seeing faces in windows, shadows where there shouldn't be any, and sometimes you'll even hear the faint click of a camera shutter, like something is taking your picture. No one knows what happens if it catches you, but if these stories are true, maybe you become part of the next one. Another whisper in the hallway, another shadow in the photo, another name no one remembers but everyone feels. These are not just stories, they are warnings from the forgotten corners of schools where time stands still and fear never graduates. So when the final bell rings and the last student leaves, remember, the halls aren't empty. They're waiting, watching, listening. And if you're unlucky, they might call your name next. Thank you for watching Shdows Secrit. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more terrifying stories from the shadows.